What's up, guys? I'm Johnny Phantom, where I talk about all things fandom, and today we are talking about none other than Pokemon, one of the biggest franchises of all time. I mean, I remember playing Pokemon when it first came out. I collected the cards growing up. I played the games growing up. I collected the toys growing up. Everything. Just Pokemon was the biggest thing of its time. I remember playing Pokemon Red version on Game Boy Pocket, which was a black and white screen. That's how old I am. Anyway, today we're talking about Pokemon and the fact that all Pokemon look exactly the same of their physical type. Now, we have seen other variations of the same Pokemon, but for the most part, they all look exactly the same. We've seen a spiky hair Pikachu in the first season. We've seen other different sleek hair color variations. There's also a shiny Pokemon, which is like the shiny Charmander, is actually more of a black. Well, he's kind of dark brown, and then a Charizard becomes black. We also see variations in other ways, like in we also see an island known as Pinkin Island, which basically turns Pokemon pink because of the fruit that's there and the Pokemon eat. We even see our beloved Pikachu that follows Ash around slightly turn pink in some areas because of eating this fruit. It does fade eventually because he's no longer there, but the Pokemon that stay there all the time are always pink because they're always eating the fruit. We also have the Alolan Islands, where these variations of Pokemon have other versions of themselves, such as Vulpix, who has the Alolan version of Vulpix. But besides those variations, for the most part, all Pokemon look exactly the same. But isn't there something else in the Pokemon universe that looks exactly the same? If you know where I'm going with this, make sure you hit the like button, hit that subscribe button, and let's get into today's video. I am talking about none other than Nurse Joy. Now hear me out. Nurse Joy is a Pokemon. Nurse Joy is exactly the same as all the other Nurse Joys we see throughout the entire franchise. The TV shows, the anime, the movies, the games, the manga, everything that Nurse Joy is in, she looks exactly the same as all of her other quote-unquote sisters, as they're called it. If you tell me every single Nurse Joy in this franchise is sisters, I feel bad for that mother, because that's like quintuple hundredth blitz. I know the word for thousands of sisters, but it's impossible. Now you could say, okay, they're cousins, but they look all exactly the same. How? How do they look exactly the same? Misty doesn't look exactly like her sisters. No. Nurse Joy looks exactly the same as every single one of her sisters. You can't tell me that they're not all sisters. You just can't. Maybe that's a story they tell because nobody knows that they are Pokemon. But they are Pokemon. They're exactly the same. With one variation. We have seen one variation of a shiny version of Joy, such as this version. But other than that, it looks exactly the same. And we see Nurse Joy at the Pokemon Center being a nurse. We also see Chansey, and we know that Chansey has another evolved form. Chansey evolves into Blissey. But what if Blissey, by some crazy means, evolves into Nurse Joy? Its final evolution. Its purified nurse. You have Chansey, Blissey, Joy. Just a true nurse. Maybe they had to do something. We've seen other Pokemon evolutions that just take more than just leveling up in order to evolve. They need to have some other means happen to them in order to evolve. Magikarp needs to basically prove himself worthy enough to evolve into a Gyarados. We see a Slowpoke have to get bit by a Cloyster in order to evolve into a Slowbro. And if you get bit on the head, it evolves into a Slowking. So there's other ways that Pokemon evolve than just leveling up. So maybe that's why Chansey works in the Pokemon Center with Nurse Joy, because eventually that Chansey is going to evolve into a Blissey, and eventually evolve to a Nurse Joy, and they get another Chansey just to keep the cycle going. And we just know none the wiser. Also, if Joy is a Pokemon evolved from Chansey, you're probably saying, well, how come she looks exactly like a human? How come she looks and talks like a human? Well, we do have other humanoid Pokemon. Not exactly human-looking Pokemon that we know of, but we do have humanoid Pokemon, such as Mr. Mime, Jinx, and other sorts of humanoid-esque Pokemon. And we all know Pokemon can talk. Yes, they just say their name over and over again, but we do know that they can actually learn English. We see this with Meowth. Meowth taught himself English and can speak it perfectly fine. Mewtwo speaks English by using telekinesis. We've seen other Pokemon speak English. There was one part in one of the movies that Ash's Pikachu said "I love you" or something like that, but I was kind of disappointed in that anyway. But Pokemon can learn to talk. They physically have the ability to talk. They say their name. It's not like an animal or a dog that just barks, or it's different. They can actually speak their name, so they have the application of speech. It's just getting to learn to take that one word that they know and turn it into multiple. So they physically know how to speak. So it's very possible that Chansey evolves into Blissey, evolves into Joy, and has this ability to speak and look and walk like a human. Nurse Joy is a Pokemon. Change my mind. Before we go any further, because there's one other phenomenon in the Pokemon universe that is driving me nuts. Before we get into that part, quick word from my sponsor, because for me it's time to wake up. Best damn energy drink you ever have. Go to repsports.com. That's reppsports.com. Use coupon code Johnny Huey. Save yourself 15% off. Best day of energy you ever have. Raise energy. Brought to you by Rep Sports. They also have a ton of cool other workout supplements and other dietary products. Go to repsports.com. That's reppsports.com. Use coupon code Johnny Huey. Save yourself 15% off. So we talked about Nurse Joy and how Nurse Joy is a Pokemon. Well, what else in the franchise do we see that is exactly the same that is not the Pokemon? Well, that's Officer Jenny. Officer Jenny is also a Pokemon. She has thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of sisters that look all exactly down to a T the same. We even see a shiny Officer Jenny at one point. But she is exactly the same. Every single town we go to, Nurse Joy, Officer Jenny, exactly the same. Every movie we see, Officer Jenny, Nurse Joy, exactly the same. Everything in the franchise of Officer Jenny and Nurse Joy are exactly the same, so therefore they are Pokemon. Now, if hypothetically Chansey evolves into Blissey evolves into Nurse Joy, we don't know the evolution of Officer Jenny because there's no like little police-esque Pokemon in the franchise. We do see Growliths and other dog-like Pokemon being used as canines. We see Squirtles being used as firefighters. But there's no physical police vibing Pokemon. So I don't know what would evolve into Officer Jenny. But Officer Jenny could just be just that. Just a one evolution Officer Jenny Pokemon. And it's crazy to think about it because if they are Pokemon, the entire world has no idea. Not even Professor Oak, who has studied Pokemon, or any of the professors that have studied Pokemon and itchy, and found these multiple evolutions. I guess none of them thought to say, hey, let's check out Nurse Joy and Officer Jenny and get a DNA sample, because it's just like, it's very odd because you can't tell me that they're sisters. You can't tell me that they have that many sisters throughout the entire world. Because every single island they go to, every single region they go to, we have 7 generations of Pokemon now. And Ash has been to multiple countries in the world. You're telling me every single Nurse Joy is related? It's impossible. The only other explanation is that they're Pokemon. And they're the only Pokemon that has somehow spread themselves across every single region. It's the only explanation that I can think of for Nurse Joy and Officer Jenny. There's just no other explanation. You just can't tell me that they're sisters. You can't change my mind on this. So let me hear your thoughts. Comment down below your thoughts on Officer Jenny and Nurse Joy. If you think they're Pokemon or not. It's just, there's no other way. You just can't. Also, comment down below anything else in the franchise that you may think might be a little off, to say that there is other Pokemon out there like Nurse Joy and Officer Jenny. Maybe one that I missed. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you guys next time. before you go, make sure you check out this video down below. And check out my merch store. Link in the description down below. And there's stuff down below you can see on the shelf. And hit that join button because it helps me out a lot. And it allows me to keep doing crazy videos like this. Check out my Patreon page. Link is also in the description down below. That also helps me out a lot. And if you go to Patreon or join me on YouTube, you get free stuff from me. And you get content that you can only get by doing those two things. Special content exclusively for you. Also, if you want other exclusive content that you can get, which is free, go check out my podcast. Link is also in the description down below. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate everything you do. I love all the support. Thank you. See you guys next time.